Good evening, everybody. Welcome you all for this Apna Mumbai Abhiyan press conference. This organization took birth last week due to certain important issues when a lot of organizations came together and when we discussed and debated on 4 or 5 major issues. And all the citizens organizations felt that there was no reaction from the government authorities, from the establishment, when individually all the citizens associations approached the system of this state. We wrote letters to the CM, we wrote letters to the BMC commissioners. We tried our level best to speak on or to try to get in touch with them on what is happening on 4 or 5 major issues. But we were told, and you must have read in the press also, that they very clearly said that it's not important for us to discuss with the citizens to take action against action or change or whatever we do on these 4 or 5 major issues. So what we thought was that all these citizens organizations who really work day in and day out and were responsible for the change in the society, in their particular areas, to come together and create a pressure group so that the government understands the language of majority. No government has yet told us that citizens are not required to participate in important area issues. So today we thought of speaking to you, to the people through the media, on an issue of Coastal Road. Similarly, the next press conference will follow with overhead metro. Then we will talk about RA, which is again a very big issue, which we feel that the city will come to a standstill the way government is going on the RA issue. And then we will come to open spaces and other issues. So all these 4, 5 major issues on which the city depends, all the citizen organizations, you can read the names of all these popular citizen organizations who have done wonders in the city. They have done wonders, in their own level, and whatever little bit we could say, it's only because of these citizen organizations. So today on Coastal Road, I will, we have Mr. D.M. Sukhankar. We all know him, he doesn't need any introduction, to start this PC. And then Hussain will speak, he's from the KRBI. And then Daryl Devancho, again, he doesn't need any introduction. Sukhankar, please.
Thank you. Actually, I'm here as chairman of Agni, which perhaps many of you must have heard of, deals with various civic issues which are, or maybe you can say, issues of concern for the city as a whole, and which interacts with the BMC and the authorities concerned to improve, by and large, the delivery of various civic and other common services for the citizens. I have been personally, at the invitation of Darren, a member of the Independent People's Tribunal, which actually had conducted a public hearing. And along with me there were other prominent citizens of Mumbai who were the members of the jury as it were, and various interest groups were represented at that public hearing. and more or less the unanimous opinion of everybody, barring perhaps, I wouldn't like to mention the name, but one or two persons who pointed out some seemingly mitigating factors of this horrible project. Were unanimous that this project is totally inconceived. It has been brought into prominence without considering the various other possible alternatives for improving the traffic situation in the city, for improving mobility of citizens who have to move to go to places of work or whatever may be the objective. So I personally, and particularly to an audience, and I know many of the faces here, they are quite enlightened, very knowledgeable, and I don't think I need rattle the various points which are, at least to most of us, very obvious as being against this project. There are environmental issues, there are issues of possible alternatives which will be far more beneficial and which will give mass transit, which is the main requirement of the city, as compared to this coastal road, which will cater to the needs of only the persons who own private vehicles. I'm one of them. I don't want to hide that. But I have never asked for a coastal road. What I want is that the existing roads should be improved, the mobility on the existing highways and means of communication should be improved and so on. And there are ways and means of doing it. And therefore, I don't think I need go into all the details regarding the various drawbacks of this project. It's 12,000 crores, out of most of it going to come out of the pockets of you and me. And certainly I think we must put our shoulders together to oppose this project. So far we have not cut much ice with the authorities that be, but I think if we firmly stand against this project and explore all possible ways and means, apart from acting as a pressure group, maybe knocking the doors of the judiciary or whatever, going to our own public representatives and bringing through them pressure on the decision makers not to proceed further with the project, I feel that we stand a very good chance of stopping this project. I wouldn't like to go on and on. I would request Jared to supplement whatever I have said.
It's a matter of grave concern that this project is going ahead without the final environmental clearance. The last meeting of the Coastal Zone Management Authority in January this year imposed certain conditions which the PMC, which is building this project, has tried to get out of. For instance, they have said that, you see the press note in front of you, that 2% of the total cost, 240 crores, should be used for mitigation of the damage and conservation of mangroves. The Coastal Zone Management Authority has also said the BMC should plant 5 times the number of mangroves cut or destroyed during the construction. The BMC is trying to say that that should be about 3 times and not 5 times. It has required the PMC to do a study of the impact of mangroves on the flooding of low-lying areas on the coast. In Mumbai, we all remember July 2005 and the floods that followed. Even the seashore was flooded. Areas like Water Road, Bandstand and Bandra were flooded because of that heavy rain. And it's a no-brainer now that with climate change, the ocean level is going to rise. Therefore, we are building a project which is going to be the first thing that will come under submergence as the ocean levels rise. Also, I don't think we need to tell any Mumbaikars or Indians how erratic the traffic erratic the monsoon is becoming. And with that kind of disruption of the monsoon patterns, one can see that floods will be the first thing that will happen on the coast. So, environmentalists refer to the ecological illiteracy of authorities who are building these projects without any mind to the environmental conditions. We are faced with cities like New York, Hong Kong, already are aware of the ocean level rise that will affect them. Whereas we seem to be supremely unconcerned. The BMC has been asked to ensure that no fishing activity was hampered during construction and operation of the road. If you see the detailed project report that was put up on the BMC website last year, it has been designed by Stuck Consultants with the international consultants Ernst & Young. And during that, if you see the alignment of the detailed project of the coast road, it is going to be cutting in like Moragaon village at the northern end of Juhu, bisecting it in half so that fisherfolk will no longer have access to the sea. So how this condition imposed by the Maharashtra Coastal Zone Management Authority will be met is for the authorities to reply. But even, as I said, even before this final environmental clearance has come, the BMC has issued what are known as expression of interest documents. These are to identify consultants. These consultants must have experience in at least 2 countries. So there will be foreign consultants presumably working with an Indian partner. So the first stretch is from Princess Street to Priyadarshini Park. Second from Priyadarshini Park to Baroda Palace in Worli. Third from Baroda Palace to the Worli end of the Bandra-Worli ceiling. And the Bandra end of the Bandra-Worli ceiling to Carter Road in Bandra. These projects are worth some 4,700 crores. One of the strangest things that is happening with the Coast Road is that all the details are completely confused. There is not a person here, I think, who can stand up and tell me what the exact length of this road is. Every day we hear different lengths, 30 kilometers, 35 kilometers, 33 kilometers. The detailed project report says 35 kilometers. The alignment itself keeps changing. So what we fear one day may become much worse if the project keeps changing. Fortunately, I think some of the very adverse features, like the tunnel in Marine Drive and the tunnel under Juhu Beach, have now been abandoned. But nobody knows what exactly we are in store for. Even the cost of the project keeps changing. I think the second issue which we are concerned about is the people's right to know. How can a project like this, which will change the face of Mumbai, go through without a single public consultation? For 2 years now, we have tried to engage with anybody from the PMC. That has not been forthcoming. We have tried to engage with Stuck Consultants, and they were quite prepared to, but without clearance from the PMC, they could not. The the situation with the development plan hardly needs repetition last year. That it at least went through the process of having public hearings in every ward. It's a different matter that not many of those recommendations were incorporated. But at least it went through the process of consulting the public, Mumbaikars. And we all know that because of public opposition, that entire DP was scrapped and a new one is about to be issued at the end of the month. So how can we permit a project to come up without taking into account, it's a very fundamental right that people who are affected by a project should be consulted. They have the right to know, and this has been denied. In the past, when we have raised this issue, the BMC has referred to the fact that the detailed project report has been put on the website. I don't know if any of the journalists here have tried to read even the executive summary. It's a very convoluted document. It contradicts itself in various places. It says that mangroves are extremely important for the city, and yet this project is going to reclaim about 160, 170 hectares, some of which is on mangrove land. So the detailed project report is quite contradictory and confusing. And how can people who have no experience of traffic issues, economic issues, detailed project report are not meant for the citizen? So the BMC has tried to make out that this has been put up in the public domain and people could send their objections and suggestions. But as we know, it's going ahead without a single of these objections and suggestions being taken into account. Now, we are not sure what the legal position is, but certainly the propriety or the morality is clear that the authorities have to take people in every area of Mumbai which is being affected, take them into account. Some of the most strange complications that is going to take place with this road are the connectors, and 22 connectors at last count, connectors to the road. In most parts of Modern Road, Milton Road, Bandstand, Carter Road, the road will be about 200 yards off the coast, and there will be 22 connectors. So one connector is at the junction of Warden Road and Napier Road. Now anybody who knows that area, it's extremely congested. So how will it take the traffic going in and out of the coast road at that very congested junction? In fact, we had a public meeting in Priyadarshini Park last year, and one of the architects said that if somebody was at Kemp's Corner and wanted to go to Bandra, it would be faster to drive to Nariman Point, catch the road and go north, because it will be impossible for them to connect at Kemp's Corner, Warden Road and at St. Stephen's Church. But all those people should have been taken into account, people who live in that area, and they have not been. So I think the fact that we have this, as Mr. Sukanta said, the Independent People's Tribunal report, when that was, just to give you a few more details, it had two former municipal commissioners, Mr. Jamshid Kanga as well. It had a former Maharashtra Urban Development Secretary, Mr. D.T. Joseph. It had two serving government officials, Mr. Rakesh Kumar, Dr. Rakesh Kumar of the National Environment Engineering Research Institute, and Mr. B.C. Khatwa who's the head of the Mumbai Transformation Support Unit. Apart from other, you can get copies at the back of the report. And the unanimous decision of the commissioners was that the project should be scrapped for all these reasons, from the point of view of governance, planning, the fisher folk, transport, and the environment. It does not deserve to go ahead. There are many issues which we won't go into now, why the project is bad. There's a flyer at the back of the room which contains some of them. And when we had this Independent People's Tribunal report published, the BMC asked, saying, is this study peer reviewed? Now we would like to ask whether the detailed project report has been peer reviewed. And I'm afraid that whereas you may excuse two consultants as architects for at least not getting their grammar correct, let alone facts. Frankly, I don't know what Ernst & Young was doing as a consultant in that detailed project report. If you see it, it is not factual, contradictory, and in many places grammatically wrong. And the projections by the hour of traffic, their own projections only show that only about at the most 2 lakh cars will use it every day. But people who work with us, Ashok Tata of Mumbai Environmental Social Network, has calculated that if you take all the costs from Nariman Point to, actually the road will begin now from Princess Street flyover at Marine Drive. From Marine Drive to Kandivali will cost 400 rupees one way. So the return will be not 800 or maybe 600, 700. At this, it's now 7 years after the Bangalore ceiling was completed. And the ceiling should have had 125,000 cars flying on it every day. Only 45,000 are using it. So as the toll will go up, the number of people will reduce. Now the government, to counteract that, has promised that there will be no tolls on this coast road. In other words, you can drive from Nariman Point to Worli and from Bandra to Kandivali without paying a rupee. So I can visualize that every evening people will go for a joyride. You put your windscreens down and drive for a joyride. So there will be absolute bumper to bumper traffic. And we don't have to go to all the arguments about the cost to the environment, that 13, I forget the last number, WHO, 13 or 15 most polluted cities of the world are in our country. If you see studies by the Indian Institute of Technology at Mumbai, there are what are known as heat islands in Mumbai. So on a day like today, I don't mean specifically, but on a day like today, there can be a 13-degree difference in areas which are completely closed off to the sea with that, high density construction. So with a coast road like this, we are just adding to the kind of complications that this. One reason that Mumbai has been saved the ignominy of Delhi and other cities is because we have the access to the coast, and that is now going to be taken away. So I just want to conclude that it's very important. The whole object of this coalition is to raise the issue of the coast road and the other issues, bringing them into the public domain. And I should mention, as this press note does, that the BMC has actually tried to hide behind the metro, it's called the Metro Railway law, I forget, which prevents which makes it not compulsory for these projects to be brought before the public. How a coast road figures along in a metro railway legislation is something that defies the imagination. I think the main issue, especially because there are so many representatives here of citizens' organizations, is that all Mumbaikars have the right to know what is being proposed in their name.
Thank you, Darren. I request Hussein Grover from the KRBIC.
Talking about environmental issues, last year when the coastal road was for the first time given tentative clearance by the central government, exactly 2 days before this clearance was given, 400 houses were demolished in Mumbai. It was stating that this is mangrove land, so the forest department demolished 400 homes. This was right in the monsoon season, and there were no rehabilitation plans made prior to demolition. Last week, about 200 houses were demolished in Charco. Again, forest land, stating environmental laws. This is a city that customarily demolishes people's homes and renders them homeless using environmental laws. But it also regularly violates those same environmental laws to build private amenities for the rich. This is completely unacceptable. The government should be ashamed of its hypocrisy, and if it really cares about environment, about the environment and about the city, it cannot allow this project to go through. There is, we have, all of us have been at this for the past 1.5 years now, and there are innumerable technical arguments that one can find in this IPT report, and there's no point in repeating them. In any case, the MCGM is impermeable to reason. It is behaving in an unscientific and an irrational manner. There is no point in giving any more arguments for why this road should not be built. It says that this report needs to be peer reviewed. In fact, this report is a peer review of the DPR. And it is a scathing indictment of the DPR. If anybody goes through this report, there are very, very good reasons given why this project should not be built. I would like to quote Shirish Patel from this report. He says that this is a city which is of the builders, by the builders, for the builders. And this is precisely why this project is being built. It has nothing to do with transport needs. It has nothing to do with open spaces. It has nothing to do with public health. So this project is going to spend about 13,000 crores for, which is basically money generated through the sale of fungible FSI. And this is the standard model of development in Mumbai now. They keep giving people FSI incentives and PDRs for doing development. And all that money that the MCGM has now acquired, it is trying to put into a project like this. For the development plan, when the MCGM is asked why it has diluted health norms, why it has diluted educational norms, why it is not building public housing, it says we don't have money to acquire land. If it does not have money to acquire land, how does it have money to build these hideous projects? This is something, and interestingly, the MCGM has money to acquire land for roads, to build roads, but it does not have money to, for social amenities and for public housing. It doesn't have money for slum improvement. It only has money for these kinds of projects. So in a sense, what we are getting here is that if you live in Bombay and you're wealthy, you are very well taken care of. You get free parking, you get a joyride around the city, you get TDR and FSI as incentives. But if you are poor, the government comes and demolishes your homes and kicks you out of the city. This is the way the city is developing. We are living in a highly inequitous and unsustainable city, and this project is just one more step in that direction. Finally, I would like to end with one very important concern, and that is that along this western coast, you have 7 to 8 fishing villages that are immediately on the alignment of the coastal road. this is not just a question of environment, this is not just a question of transportation, it is a question of livelihoods for all of these communities that live along the coast. The NCTM has had no social and economic impact assessment of this project. It has an environmental impact assessment, which in fact says that this is going to be a disastrous project, but it is going ahead and building it anyway. So, for instance, the environmental impact assessment of this project, DPR, it's there, anybody can take a look. It says that if the Mithi River mangroves had not been reclaimed, the 2005 flood would not have happened, and so many people would not have lost their lives. And if the project goes ahead and is going to reclaim at least 27 hectares of land, maybe more. So, in any calculus or any, if you take any way of scrutinizing this project is just not a project that ought to be built in the city. The photos will also tell you why it is going to be ugly as well. That's a finer point. So I would like to end by saying one last thing. The sea link costed 400 times more than its projected amount, and today it runs at 40% efficiency. Just use the same cost escalation and efficiency for the coastal road and see what are the figures you get.
I would like to let the media know that after so many citizens organizations, from yesterday we started getting calls from various organizations from Thane, Mulund and all those areas that they want to be a part of this Apna Mumbai Abhiyan. So the concern of the people, the voiceless people who are not heard by the government, who says that it's not necessary for people to be spoken about except for asking for votes during elections. Rest of the things, I think people are not really very important. So we are getting tremendous response from the citizens organization. We know there are a lot of representatives from all the organizations sitting in this press conference today. A small presentation, AV presentation, we would like to see, and then we'll go in for a question answer session if anybody would like to ask questions. The technician here? Yeah. The technician of this place? Sanjay? He's taken away the remote. I'm sure of the government agency. Meanwhile, if a question should be asked, then is here and good morning. Anybody from the media would like to ask a question? You are so brilliant that there are no questions left.
So these are a set of measures that kind of illustrate what the road will actually look like when it's built. We've been talking about it for so long, but we're trying to illustrate what it will really look like. This is Ajayali Junction. This is bandstand. We'll come back to that in a second. This is Bandra bandstand. You see this is a road at ground level, which then passes by the Chimbai village, which is here, which is where the road is higher up to allow boats to pass underneath. This is Plata Road. Very beautiful. This is at the end of Juhu Beach, the northern end. We can't change this. This is Versova, right? Moraga. And we're back to Hajeli. This is the view you see as you're standing on the road and looking towards sea. That's the Cloverleaf Junction at Hajeli.
You like sing it again and again. Our future. Well mixed up. Thanks a lot. I think nothing has to be shown or seen after this. Everybody is depressed. Questions? Anybody from media?
What are the next steps? I'm Anish Bair from Tata Road.
We will discuss the network. This is a press conference.
Sir, I would just like to know what are the areas where there would be reclamation. Which are the areas where there would be reclamation for construction of the road, and what would be the impact of, you can say, flooding over there?
Reclamation, okay, let me recollect. The stretch between Priyadarshini Park and Worli Sea Face, there is going to be a lot of reclamation along that stretch. There is going to be reclamation, park reclamations from between Bandra and Juhu. But the most severe environmental damage is going to be caused by filling that they're going to do within the Versova Creek, within the Malad Creek. Right? Now, I don't know what they were thinking when they did that. They're planning to reclaim a stretch from the creek and build a road on it. It's not even a stilted road. This will actually just, in simple physics, it's going to block the creek, and there is going to be flooding upstream. So upstream of the Malad Creek is areas which are you have the entire Malad area, Charco. That's where running likely that nobody knows. But these are the broad reclamations that the project is proposing. There have been various different numbers, but I think the one number that the DPR says is 27 hectares. Right? 27 hectares. Right.
I think
Please show the Bandstand area, Chimbai area, and thing passing by with reference to the existing promenade. Then it will make clear the dimension. No, it will not show.
Hello.
Too fast.
So that can't be, the street can't be changed. I think
But that area,
we'll do that.
Chimbai and all, I can
Let me sit amongst yourself. We'll do it.
About 3 months back, 3 or 4 months back, my MLA Sashi Shillar and my MP Poonam Mahajan had organized a meeting along with a demo from the architect that Stoop Consultant. And one of the questions I asked them was that you are talking about open spaces on the other side of the coastal road, which means we already have open spaces in Bandra, which is our promenade. Then you're going to build a coastal road, and then you're going to have open spaces beyond that. How will I access that open space? How will I cross traffic of 8 lanes to get to it? They had no answer. The answer was, oh, don't worry, we will build underground tunnels or overhead tunnels for you to access it. So this is what I'm saying. The whole project is a joke. It's an absolute joke.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I asked the question, how will I access it? Seaward side.
Coast roads across the world, many cities have these coast roads. Why this opposition to coast road?
How will it benefit? Calculate the benefit.
In April 2014, the Dutch Prime Minister came here and met Mr. Kandivali. And so I raised the question because the Dutch are trying to get the consultant, be the consultant, who have experience of reclaiming land. So I asked, not the Dutch Prime Minister left after they signed an MOU, but I asked all the Dutch experts, in Holland today, would you build a road which is only for cars? And they said no. So there are mistakes of the past. But if you see in Paris now, they have some of those roads along the Seine. They have actually blocked up traffic. And one of them in summer, they even put sand so you can sunbathe, things like that. So the whole world is changing. In Seoul, the capital of Korea, the road bridge right through the city over a small, they call it a river, we call it a stream. For years, because they became Asian tigers, they have removed that now. So the thinking is now that these areas have to be for public access. You can't turn them over to cars anymore.
Yeah, you are a journalist.
Yeah, I just want to say something. My name is Dina Chitra. I'm just a citizen of Bombay. I'm not doing the press. I just want to say one thing. Apart from all the obvious disastrous consequences which we've been talking about, has our BMC or our government never thought about the change in the pattern of the tides? I just want to give a little example. When they built this Palm Island in the Gulf, the famous Palm Island, they did not consider what would happen with the change in the pattern of the tides. There was tremendous erosion. They actually had bits of land being eroded at the base of the palm, the palm-shaped tree, and bits of land just disappearing. And even they, with all their expertise, were not aware of it. This sort of thing that we are considering here would cause massive changes in the tides and massive erosion. You have bits of land just being eaten away. with a change in pattern of the tide. So I think we should tell them that as well. I mean, that's another disastrous consequence which probably will take place after they build this.
The IIT engineer had said that this will cause structural damage.
If you look at the tribunal report, there is a report by a former geologist from IIT Mumbai, Dr. Subramanian, and he's very clearly said what are the implications. Already now with Cup Parade, Back Bay reclamation, the impact is being felt in Versova, in Dadar Chowbati, many others. You can't just push the sea back in other areas. So it's only a matter, it's a no-brainer that that will have an impact.
So what's the next step forward? I mean, after this whole thing, what are you all planning?
Next step, next step is next Tuesday, we are having a single press conference on overground metro.
No, on Coastal Road.
On Coastal Road.
Yeah, on Coastal Road.
Now the entire presentation will be made. We try and meet the higher authorities, the CM. We're concentrating on the CM.
But isn't that what is being tried right now also?
So, but now
But they are not responding. So what would be
but that now the entire gangs together. See, it's a bigger platform now. It's the entire city which is reacting. See, all the representatives sitting here are friends. It's not individual organization which is going and meeting him. So it's a representation of most of the areas of the city who are going to go to him, and he has to listen to him. And if nothing happens, we should not feel shy of visiting the streets. So that stage is also going to come. They're quite sure about it because the entire body language and the entire attitude of the government is very that हमको मालूम है हमको सिखाने की जरूरत नहीं. So that kind of attitude has to be taught. So we are preparing ourselves. It's a major movement. All the organizations will definitely come on the streets also, and the BMC elections are coming. So
this will be, the tenders are being invited next month. This will all be happening before.
yeah, I think we will go on a faster speed before that. That all we are meeting again tomorrow. All the organizations are meeting tomorrow again. So the speed is very fast. Every day, every second day, the organizations are meeting. And we are also going through the courts. We are also filing the PILs simultaneously. We are taking the legal help also. So all the various lines of getting the things done. We are meeting the lawyers also, top legal lawyers. And what Virat, something very good is happening. That's why we all are confident is, I think for the first time, after the first metro thing, we came on the streets. There were about more than 50,000 people on the streets. This is a time where all the organizations have come together. So that concern and the pain of every citizen is seen. Everybody is here in the press conference today. So we are very confident about it, we are very sure about it, and things will happen. Let's have tea. Thank you.
No, any more questions on the press?
Thank you for coming, and we hope your full support and full energy, oriented support for the things to be, done. Thank you. Thank you everyone.
25 NGOs on board. 25. 27. What is that? 27.